Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be talking you through how I have prepared for a zero waste baby on a budget. So I've broken this video down into 7 categories, and those categories are sleeping, nappies, clothes, bathing, travel, toys and feeding. So for sleeping, I purchased a second-hand Moses basket from Facebook Marketplace, which cost me £10, which I upcycled, as you would have seen in my budget eco-friendly nursery video. I upcycled that with a lick of nursery safe paint, and I sewed some little ruffles to go around the plastic bands that hold the Moses basket into place. I was able to wash the mattress and all of the cloth parts of the Moses basket. And I also purchased a mattress protector and 2 fitted sheets for the Moses basket from Asda. The mattress protector was £3 and the 2 fitted sheets were £4 for the pack. When the baby grows out of the Moses basket, we've also purchased a second-hand cot. That was also from Facebook Marketplace and was £10. And in the same video that I mentioned earlier, I also upcycled that with 3 coats of the nursery safe paint. I bought a brand new mattress for this cot, which was from Amazon and is the most eco-friendly one that I could do within my budget. So there are more eco-friendly options than this, which are probably in about the £200 price range, which are fully compostable and incredibly environmentally friendly. But within my price range, I spent £25 on this cot mattress, and it's made from recycled polyester filling, which can in turn be recycled. So some of the foam cot mattresses cannot be recycled and actually cause quite a major landfill issue. So make sure that if you're looking at cot mattresses, you also look at the environmental credentials of the materials that are being used to make them. There are different options and different price ranges, so £25 is very cheap for a cot mattress and it still had good eco-friendly credentials. So as long as you do your research, you'll be able to find one. And for the cot, I also purchased a mattress protector for £4 and 2 fitted sheets for £5 for the pack, again from Asda. In the UK, we don't really get into swaddling, so we are advised to use sleep bags for the baby. And I was able to get a number of these second-hand, both from friends of the family and also from the swap shop. So I've talked a bit about the swap shop in some of my previous videos, but essentially this is an initiative that was set up by a local woman down here in Kent who collects donations from all sorts of mothers and all sorts of different places of things that you need for children 0 to 14 years. So she gets all of these things donated to her. She has a storage unit and things, and she sets up a temporary pop-up shop in different locations once a month. And you can go along to the swap shop and you can take whatever you can get your hands on to donate to her, or you can take a cash donation of any amount that you can afford to donate to the project. And then you can just go around with your reusable carrier bags and take any items that you need. So the things are all laid out on tables with different age ranges and different types of things. So they've got different age ranges and genders of all the different clothing items and things. They've also got separate tables with things like breast pumps, bottles, sterilisers, baby baths, Moses baskets, cots, toys, books, everything that you could imagine, and that's for every age range from 0 to 14 years. So I was able to get several blankets and several sleep bags from the swap shop. I've also been gifted some swaddle blankets from a friend of mine locally who is going to give me those to try out. So in one of my previous videos I talked about the fact that swaddle blankets are not mentioned to expectant mothers in the UK because of some various political things that I talked about in my what I'm packing in my hospital bag video, so I won't go into that here. But she is going to give me some of hers to try, so we are going to try swaddling as well, as it's been recommended by several mums on my pregnancy Facebook group who say that it really did help their babies to sleep better and to sleep for longer so they could get more sleep, and that sounds great to me, so I'm definitely going to give that a go. So all of those sleep bags, blankets and swaddle blankets were all free of charge. Next, I got given a room thermometer glow light, grow egg, I'm not sure what it's called, second hand, which was from a local mother who had one for her previous child and was given another one at her baby shower. So she kept the new one and she gave me her second hand one. So that's a room thermometer that will tell you whether or not the room is too warm or too cold or just right, like a little Goldilocks egg for the baby. It also acts as a night light, which is good for during the night time. I also purchased an LED colour changing lamp in the shape of an elephant from Primark with my maternity vouchers, and that was £2.50 reduced from £3 in the sale. I was also gifted a lot of beautiful handmade blankets and a fabulous quilt by friends of the family. So I've got plenty of things for the baby for sleeping. So the grand total of the budget that we spent out for the sleeping category was £63.50. The next category is nappies. So we've decided to go down the cloth nappy route. So I bought a bundle of 18 cloth nappies with inserts and fleece liners for £30. I was also gifted a whole bunch more of the 2-in-1 Bambino Mio nappies, along with some of the disposable bamboo liners, and that was all given to me for free by a friend of mine who had been using them for her children and no longer needed them. I then made cloth baby wipes from things around the home, which I did a video on, which I will link above. I already had all of the ingredients, the Castile soap and the tea tree oil and things that I'm going to use in the solution for the cloth baby wipes. So for now I haven't had to spend anything out on wipes. I purchased a second-hand Cath Kidston nappy changing bag that comes with a foldable changing mat, and I spent £10 on that through Facebook Marketplace. I also have a cloth fold-up changing mat that turns into a little bag with handles that I made for a friend of mine when she had her baby, and she gave it back to me now for my baby. And I also purchased one of the pads with the 3 bumper sides from Aldi for £2.49. I was also gifted a nappy pail, a bucket with the little mesh bags that sit inside it, and there were 3 mesh bags with that for putting the cloth nappies and wipes and things in before they go into the washing machine, so that was free. I also purchased 2 wet bags to use with our cloth nappies, and they were £2.50 and £5, so that was £7.50 in total. So the total budget for the nappies category came in at £19.99. So the next category is clothing, and most of the clothing items that we have were either gifted to us second hand or we picked up from the swap shop that I mentioned earlier, so they were completely free of charge. So I have clothing in newborn size, 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, and a couple of items in 6 to 9 months. This clothing comprises everything from vests and sleep suit onesies to trousers and tops, jackets, sun hats and jumpers. I also purchased a number of items from Primark. I got given some Primark vouchers for my maternity, so I decided to pick up a few items for baby while I was there. So I got a little navy blue jumper that was £5. I got a pair of sunglasses for the baby because it is going to be end of May, beginning of June when the baby's born, and those were £1. And then I also bought 2 packets of socks. One of those packets was £2 and the other was £3. I also got gifted a lot of beautiful handmade baby clothes by a friend of mine, and I've also made some baby clothes for the baby myself. If you watched my budget eco-friendly nursery tour video, I did show the setup. So I have this sideboard that we previously owned that used to have our chinaware and things in our old house, and this has now been repurposed to be the dresser for all of the baby things. So that includes all of the baby clothes and things in here. And I also did make a baby wardrobe that is in the other room, and the cost for things for that, I did buy 2 packets of coat hangers, baby coat hangers from Primark with my vouchers, and those were £3 a packet, so that was a £6. So the total for the clothing category comes in at £17. Next up is the bathing category, and I am going to include first aid in with the bathing category. So primarily my husband will be bathing the baby upstairs in the bathroom, as I can't carry the baby upstairs to where the bath is, and I don't go up the stairs very often at all. They're my most dangerous zone in the house for fall risk, so I don't tend to do stairs. But I have been and got a baby bath from the swap shop that I mentioned earlier. So that didn't cost anything, but that's one that I can set up downstairs. It's got a sort of plug drain at the bottom, so you can drain it out into a bucket or something, or over the sink to get the water back out of the bath. It's a large bath with an insert in for newborns, so it will grow with the baby, and I'll be able to bathe them downstairs until they're probably a toddler, without having to go upstairs to where the bathroom actually is. But primarily my husband will be bathing the baby. So I did buy a bar of solid baby soap that was 40p, and I also have a jar of Castile soap that a friend gave me, which I will also use for bathing the baby. I also bought a big bottle of baby shampoo that was £1. So in terms of washing products for the baby, I've spent £1.40. I spent £3 on a bunch of the hooded baby towels, which I found on Facebook Marketplace. I also got 2 more of these from the swap shop that I mentioned before, and switched those out so that I've got some that are actually decent, because some of them were not in such great condition when I actually picked them up. So between them I've got rid of a few, and I've got enough that are of good quality condition. So for the baby's towels, I spent £3. And at the swap shop in that I mentioned before, I also picked up a little Superman dressing gown that we can put on him after he's had a bath, which will just be adorable. So that was completely free. So the grand total of the budget for bathing came in at £4.40. The first aid supplies, this was one of the areas where I actually bought new for most things. So I sewed a little first aid caddy from some old scraps of fabric. I bought a nasal aspirator, which is the little bulb thing that you use to suck the boogers out from baby's nose, and I spent £2.49 on that, and that was from eBay. I also purchased some basic first aid supplies, so I got 3 crepe bandages from the range for £1. I got a packet of antiseptic wipes from Asda for £1. I got a pack of fabric dressing strips, or the long plasters that you cut up with scissors, for £1 from Asda. And I also got a packet of multi-size fabric plasters from Asda, also for £1. I also bought a digital underarm thermometer for baby, which was £3 from Asda. So we decided to go with the underarm thermometer, as one of my mum friends, who is a pharmacist, said that actually it's perfectly fine to use an underarm thermometer on the baby, and it costs about 1/10 of the price of one of these newfangled sort of laser gun forehead type thermometers or anything like this. And I didn't want to get one of those ones that goes in the ear that has all of those, you know, disposable caps on the end, as I didn't think that was very zero waste. So in the end, a £3 underarm thermometer, and you just have to hold the baby still for long enough to get a reading. So it might be a bit of extra effort with a wriggling baby, but in terms of the budget, it was a good cost-saving idea. And she's a mum of 2, and she said it was absolutely fine for her, and that's what she recommends to people when they come into the pharmacy. So based on her advice, that's what I've gone for. So the budget for the first aid kit for the baby came in at £9.49. The next section is travel. So we got very kindly gifted our car seat by our in-laws for Christmas. So we ended up getting a 0 to 7 years adaptable car seat. It was the Joy or Joie, as it's technically Joy in French, but I don't know how they actually pronounce it as their brand name, but the Joy car seat, and it was the Stages model, which goes from 0 to 7 years. So it's got all these different inserts, and you know, you take things away as the baby gets bigger so that they can grow into the full size of the car seat. It is quite large because it's obviously designed to eventually seat a 7-year-old. And it does rear facing and reclines and everything for when they're newborn, and then it starts to sit up and you take the inserts out and things and you can turn it around so it's front facing once they get to those stages. So it's one that adapts with them as they grow. We were advised by the man at Halfords when we went to choose the car seat with my in-laws that it's very unlikely that a single car seat will last 7 years with a small child. So whether or not it actually manages to make it through the whole 7 years without becoming disgustingly grubby and covered in food that we just can't wash out, I honestly couldn't say. I don't know. We'll tell you in 7 years. But we decided that cost effectively that would be the best way to go, as we weren't going to be purchasing a travel system or anything. And we wanted to have the most adaptable, cost-effective car seat because we're only going to get gifted this once, so we wanted to make sure that it was one that would last for a long time. So that's what we ended up going for, and that was bought for us by my in-laws, but I think the model was about £130. And I would highly recommend, if you're on a budget and you've got parents on either side, or any sort of close family members or anything who are wanting to help you out with the big ticket items, that the car seat is one of the big ticket items that you can't get second hand. It has to be brand new so that you know the history of it and everything. So definitely make sure that the car seat is the top of your list of things to be gifted if anyone's offering to buy you one of the big ticket items for baby. Next up in travel is obviously transporting the baby when we're not in the car. So we've got two options for this. So I bought a second-hand Casato pram. I believe the model is the Giggle 2. So I got this second-hand on Facebook Marketplace and I paid £40 for it. And it came with the bassinet sort of pram attachment, and also with the more upright buggy attachment for when they're slightly larger. It also came with the rain cover and all of the accessories that generally come with that model of pram. And I'm having a charity called Demand fit me up with some adapters so that I can clip this pram to the front of my rollator, because I need to use my rollator, my mobility aid, for walking around, which means that I can't just push a pram. A pram doesn't have a seat for me to sit down on, which is the primary function of my mobility aid. And secondly, it can't weight bear, which is the other function of my mobility aid. So it won't be able to take my weight pushing on it. So when I have an attack or anything and I'm unsteady on my feet and I've got fall risk and everything, I need to be able to use it as a balance aid, and you can't just use a regular pram for that. So I need my rollator, but I also need something to hold the baby in. So we're going to clip the pram to the front of the rollator. So it's going to be about a 4-foot long monstrosity that I'm going to be trying to steer around the shops and things. So we'll see how that goes. Next up, we decided to go for carrying the baby on our bodies. So this was recommended to me by several of the disabled mums who've also got balance and mobility problems, that it would be safer not to hold the baby in my arms around the house, but to wear them on my body, because then I've got my hands free to use my mobility aids or to grab rails or furniture or anything like that if I feel unsteady. to stop me from falling. If I do fall, it'll be easier to turn my body and protect the baby against my front and say land on my back than it would be if I was holding the baby in my arms. The most likely thing is I would drop the baby in the startle reflex. So the safest thing is to wear the baby on my body when moving around the house. So one of the first things I did was I bought a newborn to 3-year structured baby carrier, which I bought from eBay for £13.50, I think it was £13.49, something in that price range, which was designed with the belly band that has a big bump sort of cushion on it and everything, and the head support for the newborn and everything. So that was a more structured one. We got gifted a second-hand equivalent to this carrier, which my husband is going to use. So because I'm going to be using this like all day, every day, I want it staying at my measurements. I don't want to keep having to adjust it every time he's taken it and borrowed it and used it. So the one that we got gifted second-hand from our friends, he is going to have, and it's going to be in his size. We also got gifted by some of our friends a second-hand Moby style fabric baby wrap, which is basically a long strip of jersey fabric that you wrap around your body and wrap around the baby, and there's various ways of doing that. And we also got gifted by another friend a second-hand ring sling. So both of those are ideal from newborn size. So we've got 4 different baby wearing carriers, and we actually only spent £13.50 on one of those items. Everything else was given to us for free. If you are thinking about baby wearing, then definitely check out the sling libraries that are often held at your local book library, your local library. But check out your local sling libraries, as they will have slings that you can borrow and try different styles and things until you find one that you like, so that you don't have to purchase one only to find that you don't get on well with it, or your baby doesn't get on well with it. So that's also well worth checking out. So for travel, we actually spent a grand total of £13.49. If we'd bought the car seat, that would have been an additional £130, but obviously that was bought for us, so that wasn't included in the budget of things we spent out on. In the toys category, we didn't actually buy any toys for the baby. All of the toys were second-hand, so we got a whole bunch of toys from one of my NHS ladies that comes to visit me in the house, and she had been gifted them to give to the lady who runs the swap shop, but she was coming to see me first, and she said, "Oh, I've got all these toys, do you want them?" So I got a whole bunch of beautiful, they'd been nicely freshly cleaned and everything, second-hand toys suitable for newborns. So that was one bag of toys. I also got 2 bags of toys given to us from my friends down the road who've got 2 kids, the one who works in the pharmacy. And so I've got a lot of toys that go, further developmental stages. So a lot of those are for older children, because her children are a bit older. So I've got newborn toys, and I've got toys for when baby's slightly older. And I also got a second-hand play gym and a bunch of sort of accessories for that from another friend who sent me the ring sling in the post. She also sent me a whole bunch of toys to go with this play gym setup. So we haven't actually spent out any money at all on toys. I did get some bits from the swap shop as well. I got given this in another bag of sort of baby clothes and things from a friend of mine, and this little hand puppet thing was also in there. And then we got a little rattle bunny rabbit thing, and we also got the Bunny Lovely that you would have seen in the Moses basket in the budget nursery tour video, which was also from the swap shop. So we've got lots and lots of toys to choose from, and we didn't spend a single penny on toys, so we spent £0. So my prime advice for toys is there are so many toys that go to landfill every year, particularly plastic toys, and you know, they'll be played with by the child for 6 months if you're lucky, and then they'll end up in landfill for 1,000 years. So I would highly recommend, if you're trying to do zero waste, to get second-hand plastic toys. Don't try and be all noble and go out and buy first-hand wooden children's toys. They might look the part and it might give you the nice virtual signalling, you know, I'm so environmentally friendly because I only get wooden toys for my child, but actually save some plastic toys from landfill, give them an extra lease of life, and then donate them on again. Get those circular economy going with the plastic toys, and save the wooden things for artisanal things or whatever, heirloom things, but primarily second-hand plastic toys. They need a new home. They need a new home, people. So the total for toys was £0. And then finally, feeding. So we've decided to breastfeed the baby, both for health reasons and for cost reasons. Obviously there's many benefits to breastfeeding in terms of health and bonding and immune system building and antibodies and all sorts of things like this. Also with my health issues and energy levels and things, the amount of prep work that's involved in bottle feeding, you know, with sterilising bottles and preparing formula, and there's you know, a lot of getting up and going and doing these tasks and then coming back and feeding the baby and things, which requires a lot more walking around than I'm comfortable with when I'm mostly bedbound and things. So it just didn't seem like a viable option. Breastfeeding is definitely the way for us. I don't think that there's a right way or a wrong way. The only right way is a fed baby as far as I'm concerned. So, you know, whatever you need to do to feed your baby, do that. But for us, breastfeeding was the choice that we've made, and because it's going to be so much easier for me to manage with that, I'm going to do whatever it takes to breastfeed, persevere through whatever, because the alternative is going to be a lot more hard work for me, mobility wise and everything, so we're just going to avoid that. But because of my attacks, the likelihood of me not being able to feed the baby at certain times means that I wanted to express so that my husband can feed the baby, or my in-laws or someone else can feed the baby in the event that I'm incapacitated. So we are going to have a breast milk supply in the fridge and freezer, so that there is always something to feed the baby if I'm out of action. So I got a second-hand manual breast pump from the swap shop. So I have bought a breast pump from Amazon, which was just under £35, £34 something, which I decided, with the fact that I'm going to be expressing on a regular basis, to provide milk for the baby in these eventualities, and also because I want James to be able to bond with the baby through feeding it. So he's going to bottle feed breast milk to the baby every day, so that he's bonding with the baby, and so that the baby is used to bottle feeding as well as breastfeeding, because it probably will have to on a regular basis. So we're going to combination bottle and breast feed with breast milk, is the plan. So we got a bunch of Tommy Tippy bottles and the microwave steriliser and things that one of the ladies from my pregnancy yoga group had, that she didn't use for her kid. He didn't like those bottles, so she got some different ones, I think. So she donated those to us. So we've got those for my husband to use to feed the baby and to sterilise the bottles and things. I think we're going to need to buy a bottle brush as opposed to the wooden dish scrubbing brush that we use because it's not really ideally suited to cleaning inside bottles. So I think we will need to buy a dedicated bottle brush. But so far, in terms of supplies for feeding, we've spent just under £35 on the electric breast pump. I also made maternity nursing bra. I made 2, and I made a set of nursing pads for leaking breast milk and things. I was also donated a bunch of disposable breast pads because of the pandemic and things, as I talked about in my hospital bag video. I had to take disposables to the hospital, so the cloth ones I'll use at home, and the disposables we'll take to the hospital. So the feeding stuff, I've made a whole bunch of things. I also got given a second-hand hacker, which is the sort of silicone let down bottle with a cup on that you just sort of squeeze and put over your nipple and release, and it sort of suctions on, and so when you're feeding on this side, the milk that's being let down on this side is being collected. So I've got one of those as well, which didn't cost anything. So the total for feeding came in at just under £35. The only ancillary thing that I didn't really know which category to put it in was we got a second-hand baby bouncer chair thing, a sort of rocker chair bouncy thing that cost £5 from Facebook Marketplace. So it vibrates and it rocks like bounces, and it also sings a little song. It's got an electric little box on the bottom with a slider, so you can make it vibrate or sing or do nothing. And that was £5 from Facebook Marketplace. I also got a cot mobile, which was a gift from my sister. I don't know what category you'd put that in under, toys or sleeping or what, but those are the two sort of ancillary things that I didn't really know what category to put those in. And so I spent £5 on the bouncer, and the mobile was a gift. So there's an additional £5 floating around there as well. I also bought a high chair for the baby, which we won't need for at least 6 months. But I saw a vintage wooden high chair just like the one that we had when I was growing up, and I wanted it, so I bought it, and that was £10. So I don't know if that counts as a baby item, because that's you know, not necessary for quite a long time, but I purchased that anyway. So that would technically come under feeding, but it's certainly not necessary for a newborn baby. So I don't know if we want to include that in this ancillary category. It's just an extra thing that I bought. So the total budget of everything we've spent out for the baby is £217.87. So I kept calculating that as £177.87 because I kept forgetting the £40 for the pram. So in previous videos I've said it was less than £180, but it's actually less than £220. So it's £217.87, and that money was spread over from December until May. So over a 6-month period that we spent that money out. That would have had an additional £130 if we included the car seat, but obviously we got gifted that by my in-laws, so we didn't actually pay for that. So if we included the car seat, then that would be £347.87 roughly. So altogether, I think that's a reasonable budget with everything that we've got. We've got one of everything that you could possibly want, I think, for having a baby, and we've got lots of duplicates of things like sleep bags and baby grows and things like that, all the essential items. So I'm very pleased with what we've managed to achieve. I feel very sorry for the mums who've been stuck in lockdown without being able to buy things secondhand from Facebook Marketplace and things during this time. Thankfully, I started prepping well before my due date back in December, so I was able to get most of this done before the lockdown, and that's how I've been able to do it on such a budget. Having a baby during a pandemic is just much more difficult. You've basically got online shopping as your only option for everything, so it's probably going to work out more expensive if you're trying to prep during this lockdown period. So yeah, I'm very grateful that we were able to do it on such a small budget. It did take a lot of extra effort and extra research, and I did search for specific brands. For example, for the pram, I knew I wanted a Casate pram. I knew which range I wanted it to be from, so I was searching specifically for that pram and from that range in Facebook Marketplace and eBay and things, until I found one that was in good condition and a pattern that I liked and that was on offer second hand. So if you've got the time, if you start prepping early enough, you can get exactly the thing that you want second hand and for a fraction of the price. So you don't have to just have whatever you can find and whatever's going. A lot of the time you will, especially if you're getting stuff secondhand gifted to you from, you know, what other people chose to have for their children, or, you know, what you can find in the swap shop and things like that. It does take away some of the choice. You can't necessarily have everything colour coordinating or to a certain theme or anything. You might have to be a bit more creative if you want to do a themed nursery or anything like that. It is possible, but it's going to take a lot more effort. So my advice, if you want to do a baby on a budget, is to get started very early. As soon as you've had that 12-week scan and you feel confident that this is going ahead, then get researching, get buying, get finding the items that you need. We also made an awful lot of stuff. Well, I also made an awful lot of stuff for the baby, and I've done a whole range of zero waste DIYs for baby on my channel. I'll link the playlist to that above and in the description box below, so you can go and check those videos out. And that includes things like postpartum care for mum, stuff that went in the hospital bag, stuff for cloth reusables for the baby. I also made a nipple and nappy dual purpose balm, things like that. So there's definitely lots of things that you can do DIY yourself as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful. I hope it helps you to be able to think more creatively about having a baby on an extreme budget, and fingers crossed that if you're pregnant, your pregnancy goes well, and your delivery and everything, and good luck. So I'm 38 weeks and 2 days pregnant today, so I'm due in just under 2 weeks. I think he's going to come before then, but we'll see. So yeah, wish me luck as well. If you've got any tips for other mums on how to do a baby on a budget, or if you've got any advice for me, then leave it in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.